Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and/or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and/or nonprofits. Again, folks, this is Matt coming to you live from the house. Now, today you're wondering, what is that picture up there? Well, this is an older episode of the Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster and Pastor Matt. So I got a couple of these for you this morning until we get to Dr. Steve Albrecht at 10 o'clock. So, anyways, here you go. Take it away, fellas. I want to remind everybody that the views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and/or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and/or nonprofits.
Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and/or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and/or nonprofits.
And good morning. You're listening to The Morning Mouth. I'm your host, Johnny Rooster.
And I'm Pastor Matt.
That's right. We're listening and talking and enjoying life together on this Friday morning. We're going to be talking to somebody very politically on a political election year. In fact, did you know, Matt, that this coming Tuesday, August 4, is the primary election?
Ooh.
Yes, so it's not for primates, it's for primaries, okay?
August 4th?
That's August 4th. A lot of people get in the summer mode and they forget all about politics, or they see the yard signs everywhere. Have you seen them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't get away from them. They're just all over. But we got a big sign up here. Looks like the logo of a very popular beverage, but it says corruption.
Enjoy Corruption USA.
Enjoy corruption. And we're talking about politics, and a lot of people get caught up.
We forgot to write over it. We were supposed to type something over it, but I guess.
Yeah, but
whoops.
you know,
oh, well.
we're learning. We're new, you know. Yeah, actually, we've been around so long, we just forget the good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you what, Johnny Rooster, I'm your host. This is Pastor Matt. We're going to be talking to a politician, and we're going to find out the corruption, all about the idea that people have about politics. And one of them, Pastor Matt, came up recently was politicians get all this money, and they have this full-time income, and all they do is just work in our state capital for us is Jefferson City, Missouri. Yeah. And our state representatives just work in a session from January to May. So they really get bent out of shape thinking these politicians are just in there for the big bucks. So, a lot of people are thinking, well, you know what? That might be true. So we're going to set the record straight and find out. We're going to uncover the political chaos or the confusion. And really, we're going to dig out we're going to call a politician, if you want to call him that. He's a state representative that is term limiting out.
Oh.
He's been there a long time, so he should know what's really...
Term limiting out.
Yes, he's been there a long time. His name is State Representative Lynn Morris from the 140th District. Are you on the line now, Lynn Morris?
Hey, good morning. Yes, I am.
Yes, he is. Well, that's good. Now, I'll set this up and say, Johnny Rooster, I have been a friend of Lynn Morris for some time, but a lot of people are calling him a politician, rightly so, because he's in that field, but they're getting things mixed up about how politicians are paid, why they're paid, are they in it for the money? So just keeping your answers light and brief and enough where people can understand, why do they think that politicians get a full-time income on a part-time job?
Well, I think a lot of people in Missouri get, and maybe all over the country, I don't know, but in Missouri, I think people get us confused, state representatives confused with their congressmen. So, I mean, the Congress gets paid a lot of money. We don't get paid very much money at all. In fact, I thought I was paid more. I just looked it up, and I paid $2,000 less than I thought I was being paid.
So what is?
We'll tell the audience what it is.
Go ahead. What is the annual salary for a state representative?
The annual salary is $35,915. $915. So that's less than $36,000.
Okay.
I thought I was making $37,000, but I've never seen my checks. So
that's
in my 8 years. in my 8 years, my wife has always seen the checks. I've
Oh,
never
she
seen
sees the
check,
checks.
so-
It's just like real life.
oh yeah. Oh, just
well,
like this is real life.
you
Yeah.
mentioned Congress. Now, how much does Congress make? How much does our congressman make?
You know, I don't want to misspeak, but I know they make well over 100,000. So probably 160, 180, something like that.
Are the
senators probably make more.
Well, are the workloads similar as far as your session? Tell us what the Constitution says, and why do you work part of the year instead of all year, or what's the real story behind that?
Right. I think this has been this way for as long as I know. Our Constitution has always set this. So the session starts in January after the first of the year, and it ends before the end of May. So we basically work about a 5-month period in Jefferson City working on the budget, which is the only item that is constitutionally required of us. If we pass no bills, which a lot of people would say that'd be a great thing, and if we pass no bills, we still have to pass the Constitution, a balanced Constitution budget every year.
So that's your big objective, is to pass that balanced budget every year, but taking between January and early May, some would say, well, 36,000 is not a lot of money, but it's pretty good for a few months. But what do they not realize? What are they missing?
But they don't realize what we do. So, we are called back up at the governor's wishes. So right now we are in a special session. We also have veto session in September every year. There'll be no bills to veto this year, so we're going to go back up and work on some more bills again. We work constituent work every day that we're home. We better be. I am. And so right now I'm getting ready. As soon as we hang up here, I've got to make several calls again. I've got to call Department of Labor on 2 different people because I did 3 this morning, and I've got 2 this afternoon for unemployment issues.
Okay, but now it's the middle of the summer, and you're still making those kind of calls. I thought you wrapped it up in May.
No, that's just the session. The session is just through, and you're still doing constituent work all the time. We go to meetings all the time. There was a Right to Life meeting last night, Medicaid expansion meeting last night. I mean, you've got to keep educating yourself, going to meetings, representing people. Go drive your district, and that's what I do, just to meet people all the time. I mean, we're working all the time.
So you've got during the session, what's your schedule like? You got to leave the house where you live in Southwest Missouri and go to Jeff City. When, and then when do you return home every week?
Right. It takes good question. It takes 2 hours and 20 minutes from where I live in Nixa to get to Jefferson City parking lot. 2 hours and 20 minutes. And so we leave on Monday morning, and we come back on Thursday evening. Now, occasionally, towards the end of the session, we may not get back until Friday. The latest we got back was Friday about 8 o'clock at night. But most usually we get back on Thursday evening.
Okay, so you're doing a Monday through Thursday, but you're out of town. So where do you stay overnight?
Everybody stays different places. I stay at a hotel. Some people stay in homes. Some of the guys will share 3 or 4 people to a home or duplex or whatever. Some sleep on the floor, believe it or not, just on a mattress.
Wow.
I prefer not to do that. I did that when I was in college in a fraternity, and I just sleep I just stay at Quality Inn, which is a nice, clean, middle price hotel.
Do you get covered for those expenses too?
Well, we get a per diem, so this is the rest of the story. So we get, and this is the newest price, because I think we started out at $104 back in 2012. So right now, this year we get $119 per diem per day.
Okay.
So what that is, that covers your
notes,
hotel,
everybody.
it covers your meals, it covers everything.
Okay.
And is that on top of your annual salary?
Yeah, that's in the top, and that's on the days that if you vote, then you're going to be paid those per diem days. If you don't register yourself at the Capitol, you're not getting paid those per diem days. Those are only days if you're using expenses outside your house, and Jefferson City. So per diem, and so it doesn't. It's 119 sounds maybe like a lot, but there's many days when I've had constituents from Christian County or Greene County that I've bought their dinner at night, and and by the time I paid my hotel rate and my own meals,
hotel rates are over $100 a day.
I'm over my 119. So it's not something that you're going to get rich on. Then,
good hotel.
The other great thing I get is I get 47 cents a mile for my auto. Every mile I use my auto.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. How do you cover transportation? So 47 cents a mile.
Yeah, 47 cents a mile. You're not going to get rich on that.
No, that's just upkeep. Yeah, that's wear and tear.
Are you just using your own personal vehicle to commute?
Yeah. I think, yes. I think federal government is...
No corporate limousine for you.
No, 58 or 60 cents is what federal limits are. So state's 47 right now. So that's not going to get you rich either.
Well, we're
it's
talking
just one of those things. We put a lot of miles.
We're going to remind the audience. We're going to remind the audience that we are talking to State Representative Lynn Morris about the expenses and the workload involved, because there were some comments. This is an election year. August 4 is the primary, so you will want to vote August 4 in your local primary.
Yeah.
But the way that works in the state level with Jefferson City, you really do have to realize they have a lot of obligations year-round, and this is State Rep Lynn Morris. How long have you been a state representative, and what are your future plans?
Well, that's a good question. So I was sworn in 2012, elected first term in 2012. Nice. It's an 8-year term. I believe in term limits. And so I will be termed out at the end of this year.
All right.
And so that's 8 years. And you can serve 8 years in the House, 8 years in the Senate, but that's the most that you can serve.
Well, you're not a young man, and I know this, but you've been a long-time career businessman. You've done your term limited out. Are you going to improve your golf game, or what are you going to do next?
Going to run for president?
I like public service, so I'm actually running for commissioner for Christian County, Eastern County Commission.
So you want to get right back into things.
I really want to continue to help the county, and I think one term will be all I want to do, but I want to pass it on to the future generations, and we can make our county even greater than it is today.
Well, after being a state representative that long, why do you want to work at the county level locally before you hang it up?
Well, that's where you can have the most effect. You know, a state rep, I really don't have jurisdiction over the county. The county commissioners do.
Okay.
So I want to go back
and
take care of my 6 grandkids, 16 and under, my 3 children in their 40s, and all my other friends out there. Whether
how many grandkids did you say you have?
I've got 6. I'm
6 grandkids.
Oh, I thought you said 16. I was like, whoa.
That's good. So you want to serve the county. You're going to be, I guess the August primary is coming right up, so that'll be the
August 4th, Tuesday.
I guess that's whether or not you make that for the general election in November is all determined coming up Tuesday, August 4th.
Ooh.
Sure.
So
sure,
that's
yep. You got to win a primary.
You've been through this. You've been through this before. You've been through several election cycles.
So this is your last term that you're on currently, right now,
for the state.
For the state.
Right.
All right.
So right now I'm on an 8-0 record. So I've won 2 school boards, 2 primaries, and 4 general elections, and this will be my last election. So we'll see how it works out. We'll see what God intends for me to do.
Oh, so you're not currently serving your last term. You are getting ready to be elected for your last term.
He is serving.
No, I'm serving my last term. I'm out for 8 years.
Yep.
2012 to 2020.
Yeah, he's had his.
When are you going to run for president?
No.
No bid for
president.
president.
I don't want to be president.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
I think Jim asked. Do you have anybody that you are endorsing as far as like?
Or can you endorse? Is that okay to do that? Like, do you share?
I'm not endorsing. No, I don't want to endorse anyone.
Okay.
We got a lot of good people running for different offices, including my own position.
I think you could endorse yourself for your own position, though.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's okay
Yeah,
to
I'm
endorse
endorsing
yourself.
myself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I am.
So in this
Other than that,
election
no, I don't.
coming up, you're running for Christian County Commissioner.
Yeah, Eastern
That's correct.
Commissioner.
Ah, okay. So for our Christian County
Yeah,
listeners.
Christian County Eastern Commission covers what area, Lynn? What area does that?
Well, you know what? It's all of Ozark. It's
All of
about,
Ozark.
about 2,000 people in Nixa.
Okay.
It is the east side is 65 Highway, Highlandville. I was
Okay.
just there this morning for 3.5 hours.
Uh-huh.
Down at Saddlebrook, it covers Saddlebrook.
Okay.
It covers Sparta,
Yeah.
Oakwood, Chadwick, Bruner, all the way down to the Ava line.
Down
the
in my
Douglas
neck of
County
the woods.
line. Yeah, go back towards Linden and back towards Rogersville, and it covers the area over there to the Highway 60.
So how many people live in that area?
Every county has approximately 40 to 45,000 people.
Wow.
With every
district.
Every district. That's
Okay,
what-
so they
the
divide it
district
according to
140.
population.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit over 6 million people in this state,
Okay.
and there's 163 legislators, and if you divide that number, you're going to get between 40 and 45,000.
Okay, so you're dividing up according to population on that part of the county. There's a Western Commissioner.
That's actually how they mark the territory.
Okay.
Well, we've got about 150,000 people in Springfield,
At least.
and that's all in Greene County.
Yeah.
So I think I might talk about. I don't know how they.
They divide it up according to population, so I guess the districts are smaller in Greene County. Would that be true?
Well, so
I mean,
of course,
geographically.
Greene County is bigger. Greene County is bigger than Christian County.
Yes, the
obviously.
population,
So
yes.
Greene County's population for each commissioner does have a bigger population.
Okay.
I'm just talking about
Okay.
a state rep. A state rep has 40 to 45,000. It just happens to be my commissioner is the same route, same territory, same district. Every house in my state rep district is the same house in my commissioner's district.
So
that doesn't work out everywhere.
Okay, so you actually are running for a position that would cover the exact same district as you represent in the state.
Last 8 years, what I've covered is what I'm covering now.
Well, you ought to have name recognition at least. There's several candidates running in your race, so we'd say your name
I think
recognition
so.
would be there.
Whether
they like
think
you or
so.
not, that's to be determined.
We'll see.
He's out there
We'll
shaking
see.
hands and kissing babies,
There
right?
you go. Well, there's a lot
I
of
was
there's a
doing
lot.
that a while ago.
Yeah, there's a lot more work in Jeff City and even on the county level than what people realize. And the county, the commission job, does that pay about the same or more, or does it have more involvement? Or
You know what? I don't know. I've
you don't
heard
even
that
check
it
the
pays
the
more.
numbers when you run?
No, I don't. I don't need a
Not in it
job.
for the money.
John, I don't need a job. I'm gonna do the job. I don't need the job. I've
Okay.
been blessed, and I don't need a job. But I'm gonna do the job because someone needs to do it and make our county better. But I don't know. I don't know exactly how much it is, but that's not what I run for.
Most people work for money, and they don't do it just to help out. So that's kind of a different perspective. That's something I appreciate about what you're saying, is that you're willing, though you don't need income, you do it for a bigger reason.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
That's wonderful.
You guys, you've got a great audience. So very quickly, there's a book called Halftime, written by Buford, B-U-F-O-R-D, B-U-F-O-R-D. And he writes a book called Halftime, Divide Your Life into 4 quarters. At the end of each quarter, there's a little intermission, just like halftime, you have the biggest intermission. I'm in my 4th quarter of my life. I've been truly blessed. And so your 4th quarter should be about what can you do for other people? What legacy are you going to leave? What can you do? And this is my 4th quarter. I'm blessed. I've got good health. I think I'm going to be around for a while, but I'm now interested in trying to help other people. I've already been helped. Okay.
We're listening and talking to on the phone with State Representative Lynn Morris. He has been serving the 140th District, which covers Eastern Christian County, Missouri, for the last since 2012. So now with term limits, he doesn't have that to continue, but he wants to give more time to a term at the Christian County Eastern District Commissioner position, which the primary is August 4th. So if you live in Christian County, you know, he would be one of the candidates if you live on the eastern side of Christian County. But wherever you live, I'd like you to please get out and vote on Tuesday, August 4th.
Yeah. It means, you know, you might think your vote doesn't matter, but you know what? That's not true. It's simply not true.
And especially at the local level, people talk about national politics all the time, but the local level is where things get decided, and that's where it starts.
Just like the election for the presidency is not near as important as the election for the Congress and the Senate.
There's so many
House
things,
and the
and then as it gets closer to home, like commissioners, things that are right there at the county level, that really impacts your day-to-day life.
These are your go-to guys in government.
What else do you have to say about the question was that politicians get away with all of this money and per diems and all these perks,
pay for play,
and they don't have to work year round. But you're saying you're on call all the time, and you could be called up by the governor. Is there anything else that you have had to do above and beyond in the last 8 years that people would need to hear about and understand what the commitment level is?
Well, John, I would just say that, you know, when we're not in session, if we weren't being termed out, I mean, what I've done the last 7 years is during the summertime, you're researching and visiting with folks in your district and around Southwest Missouri and trying to figure out what your next bills are that you're going to be filing. You have to study a lot, and you have to do a lot of research.
A lot of reading, huh?
You studied a lot of reading. You study the other 49 states and see if another state's passed a bill. And then we've come up with bills that nobody's ever come up with before. So you have to work all the time. But I'll just tell you that just if you allow me to, I'm writing a book. So if you really want to know about state government, I'm writing a book. It'll be next November, November 21.
Okay.
And it's about the good, the bad, the ugly, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Missouri state government.
And that's the title of the book?
That's the title of the book. And
the
it's
good, the bad, and the ugly
exciting.
of Missouri state government.
Yeah, good, bad, and the ugly. Yes, sir.
Well,
And
once
so
you're safely out of the state office, you got that book coming. That's pretty good. Pretty good. You'll be able to give the inside.
I think there'll be a lot of people that want to see if their name's in that book.
Will it be available in ebook?
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I've got a mentor that's helping me write the book, and so I'm pretty excited about it. God led, took notes from the first night, January 5th, 2012, and 3,000 pages of notes later, I'm writing the book.
That's awesome. Lynn Morris, State Representative, thank you for your time today. We're going to let you go. I know you've got lots to do with this upcoming election coming up, and that's for a local county position of Eastern District Christian County. So, Lynn Morris, thank you again for your time on our show today.
Hey, thank you, guys. God bless you.
God bless you, too. Thank you.
So that's pretty cool.
Missouri State Representative Lynn Morris.
That's right. We're talking.
He didn't really talk a lot about corruption on there.
No, what I wanted him to flesh out the idea that it's not just sitting back and working from January through May and you're done. I wanted the audience to understand there's a lot of research to pass bills, and it goes on, and the governor can call them up at any time. If they have a special session, they can do that. And they are not. Can you imagine being a truck driver? Have you done that?
I've never been a truck driver, but
I've
work
been in that industry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's not easy to leave your home. It's not like an 8 to 5.
Drive
and you're gone
so many hours. And then
from Monday through Thursday, every week from January through May. That's not fun either.
No,
so
it's
that's
tough.
Just the beginning. So
yeah, and I tell people that's not, truck driving life is not for a family.
No. So it is tough to be a politician. We make fun of them a lot, but we really don't understand the commitment they give to public service, and it is service.
Right.
So all of you out there who hold a public office, thank you for your dedication. Those of you running for public office, thank you for being strong enough and brave enough.
And good luck, and we're praying for you.
That's hard to do. There's people out there running for some very specific offices that in our state there's a lot of competition. So there's a lot of people watching this. So August 4th, that's your time, your duty as a registered voter. Get out there and vote August 4th. That's this coming Tuesday.
Yeah. So
how's our time?
Our time is we've got 1 minute left.
You like that song? I like that song.
Which song?
That one that you wrote?
Oh, I'm
What's the name of
forgiven?
Yeah, I want to hear that a little bit longer as we get out of here. Because you know what? What's the message of that song?
I am forgiven. By his blood, I've been set free. His sacrifice saved my soul. Without his light to show the way, I would fall down in a deep, dark hole.
That's right, because corruption in any level in your life, if you're not a politician, you can still face the corruption. You want to clean that up.
Our hearts are corrupt without Jesus.
That's right.
We'll listen to a little bit
You've
of it.
been listening to The Morning Mouth. I'm Johnny Rooster, your host.
I'm Pastor Matt.
And we're going to just hang out here for a few seconds and listen to some tunes by Pastor Matt. Because I dare you to keep watching.
Well, you know, this is one of the first couple songs that I wrote, Christian-wise. Nails was the other one. That's what I start my show in the morning with.
So
Which you guys just saw this morning.
You guys tune in to the morning drive at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
That is
8 to 9.
Matt and Jay.
That's how we met. You came on the show a couple times.
That's how the Rooster showed up in the Axe Media world. And here we go, big finish.
All right.
Bye,
are forgiven.
everybody.
God bless
Take care.
you.
Vote Tuesday, August 4.
See you next week. Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and or nonprofits.
And good morning, everybody. Good morning. Friday again. It's your host, Johnny Rooster, on the Morning Mouth with my ever-trusty companion,
Pastor Matt. Pastor Matt here.
So it's Johnny Rooster, Pastor Matt, on the Morning Mouth. That's what you're listening to here on Axe Media Group. And we are ready to come at you with something amazing.
Coming at you.
It's the name, No Name. You remember that a horse with no name, but we have no name up on the board, don't we?
That's right. No name.
No name?
No name.
Well, this is a name. This shall remain nameless for a reason. There are naming rights that are going nuts here, and I'm going to talk about that because if you guys notice,
that's one way to say it.
There's a lot of weird stuff out there with the names and renaming, and people don't like the original, and so they have to rename.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of stuff that offends folk.
Hypersensitive culture we live in. Maybe we should all wrap ourselves in bubble wrap. I think we could roll around and not be offending and painful. I don't know. It's just getting
Bubble
a little
wrap.
bit... little bit tense and a little bit awkward.
How dare you pop my bubble wrap?
Yes,
that is not right.
So we have a lot of name issues, and one of them, there's a lot of sports teams that have been put in the category of indigenous peoples are no longer being represented properly, and I don't think they ask the group of people that they are affecting.
Yeah, it's not even the group of people that they're
it's
affecting
the
that's
other
saying
group.
it.
That's right.
It's a majority.
You know, I've actually been out in the Southwest, and they have the American Indian Association, and they're fine with that. The Native American Indians are good with that name. They don't care.
Well, you know, and somebody tried to change the name of, Apache helicopters.
Oh, you're kidding.
And the Chinook and things like that. It's like, look,
now they're taking away the dignity of
those are named for power.
Cultures. Yes, the
those
power.
are like the toughest. The Apache helicopter is the most deadly helicopter that there is.
And you're not naming sports teams for passiveness and wimpiness. It's for strength.
Yeah.
And power.
It's supposed to strike
fear.
If
you are full of power, you need the name.
Fear. It's supposed to strike fear in the name of your opponents.
You hear the pounding of the tom-tom, and you're afraid.
Yeah.
That's it. The chop is fearsome. It's mighty. It's not supposed to be.
The war drums, man.
I can't get this out of my head that people are taking away the power and the dignity of the intended name.
Yeah,
Just because they might be a culturally offensive category. That's not even.
It seems like a majority of the people that are offended are Caucasian.
The crazy Caucasians are offended. I hope you guys can pause that and rewind it and play that again. The crazy Caucasians.
No, I should take that as a soundbite.
Yeah. A soundbite for the crazy Caucasian. I want you guys, when you're scrolling by, stop clicking off. Stay on this time, okay? This is Johnny Rooster. We're doing the name thing, a big circle / no name. You know why? Because no name is better than this weirdness. These sports teams are getting ransacked by naming rights.
Everybody's getting offended.
Let's rename everything. You know, there's a popular company that does cosmetics, and they took out the word whitening. They took out whitening from their literature. They can't be whitening anybody's teeth anymore.
What?
I'm so offended. I've got whitening in my teeth. I don't know why I've got that voice today.
I don't know either.
This is my voice of offensiveness.
That's your what do they call it?
It's the rooster cackle.
What do they call that? The rooster Karen.
It's my Karen. And Karen's offensive too, you know, because I got a friend named Karen, and she's not so sure she wants to be a Karen.
Well, no, Karen is not specifically a name.
Well, I know, but it still became a thing.
It
and
has.
People named Karen don't really like it, and so the Karens of the world are really getting reactionary. They're going Karen on it.
Yeah.
My name's John. Johnny, you know, the bathroom. Yeah. Come on. So people have been dumping on my name for many
your
years.
Name.
In my name. I'm going to the
Not
John.
to mention peeing and throwing up.
Can you imagine going to the mat when you need to do your business? See,
well, I mean, then you'd be a puppy.
Think about it. Yeah, the mat. But the floor
I'm offended
mat.
by that.
We could all be we could all be busy being offended. But here's the no-name thing. What if you just rename all your sports teams for a generics, like the Kansas City football team? That's the name of the team. Kansas City football team.
Oh, yeah. Is that
offensive? The Kansas City baseball team. Just call it where they're from.
Yeah, but
now
Kansas
City becomes offensive, like St. Louis is offensive. People really did want to change the name of the city of St. Louis. Did you hear that?
No.
That's not a joke. The things that I think are funny as jokes are real. People are offended because Louis XIV was where they were named, and he is offensive from the history. So you dig up from hundreds of years ago, you get offended about it in 2020, and you change the name for your own. No, I'm not kidding.
I know, that's crazy to me.
The funniest, stupidest things that I used to joke about are really playing out.
Yes. Yeah,
so
that's like, wow.
Naming rights are just going crazy. I've got some names here that I wanted to just put out there. Like, if you started a bar, like a tavern, why not call it the Pickled Liver? See, I'm coming up with clever, ready-to-go, ready-made names. Copyrights are open.
It says what's going to happen if you go there all the time.
The Pickled Liver. Welcome to the Pickled Liver. How may I direct your call? You know, if they're real fancy.
That's a fancy cocktail lounge
the
there.
Pickled Liver. Do you have reservations for the Pickled Liver?
Yes, the Pickled Liver indeed.
Another thing I'm thinking about is, what if you had a new car? There's lots of cars that have names. Can you imagine the Ford Fiesta? The first time they said, let's have a party only small. A small party, the Ford Fiesta.
The Ford small party.
So we were going to think about the Cadillac could come out with an Ego, the Cadillac Ego. It's a good name for a car.
Yeah, and
it would play out. It's like, I've got the Cadillac Ego. You got the old Suburban. I've got the Ego. I'm driving my Ego.
That's really cool. Like naming things for what they represent.
The Cadillac Ego. I've got the Dodge Bullet.
Like wouldn't
that be a good name for a pickup?
Instead of the Camaro, instead of like the '87 Camaro, call it the Mullet.
The mullet, yeah, the Chevy mullet.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And you know, you got that. You got the 80s feel. You got the hair going, business up front,
I hope we don't get in trouble for saying all these names on the air.
But you know what? You got to think about it. If we got a new car and we call it the Cadillac Ego or the Dodge Bullet, that's the new 4x4 pickup, the Dodge Bullet. You're going to dodge the bullet.
Right.
But it just sounds rough. It sounds cool. Yeah. But just think, what if we got offended about our car names? Ford, now that was a president. He was a Republican president. Going back to, we're calling about Gerald Ford was a president in our history.
But except for it's named after the man who,
of course, but they don't get that part.
No.
They're all offended about he's Republican.
People died in fording
and you can't ford a river.
People forded the river and died in the Oregon Trail. Yeah, so that was a video game.
So they should go raging against the company Ford.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Chevrolet. Is that really a French word? It's American.
Is it?
Why did
I
they
never
choose
really,
Chevrolet?
You know, Johnny,
LET?
I
It's-
never even thought about it because it's not that
Well,
big
the
of a deal.
word Chevrolet is a LET. It should be. It's a Francais. Did they make them in France? No.
Like the samurai.
So
Those are good.
I'm confused. These names are confusing.
What does
If-
Nova mean in a certain language? Does that
I
mean
thought
no
that
go?
was- well, yeah, and yeah, supernova. It's in the stars, and then we got a Chevy Nova. But we're talking about naming. See the big sign that says no name? Do you see that?
That's right.
Did you switch
There.
back and forth? Like,
I
hi, I'm Johnny Rooster, and there's
well, it
Pastor
stays
Matt.
in the same place
Okay.
above the ATN.
But I mean,
regardless.
are you doing any?
I'm trying
switcheroo
to.
schemes?
Yeah, I'm trying
Because
to.
this is an interactive show. We want you guys to jump in and put in your comments about what name would you give a car if you had a brand new breed of car. It doesn't even have to be Ford, Chevy. It could be a new brand of car. It's not here yet.
Yeah.
What would you name it? Give it a good little go here. The Saturn was a cool name. I'm gonna say that. That's
well, the
kinda
Saturn
cool.
is the company now.
Yeah, but it's kind of a neat name for a company. The Jupiter could be a car.
They that actually that
Is
was
there a
started
car?
by a bunch of Chrysler employees that left.
They were
And
on the rings.
They thought that they could build a car better.
Well, there's always room for new ideas, and we're talking about naming. Remember when the Washington football team was under attack for the name of the team? Well,
Yeah.
think about all the other teams that are now under attack, and think about the ripple effect and how awful that would be if you had to rename everything.
They're setting precedents.
What we're going to do on the morning mouth right now is screech on the brakes, put it in reverse. Do you have a rewind? Let's hit rewind. Be kind, rewind. And we're going to go all the way back to the beginning of time. We're going to cancel all of our cultural sensitivities. Now travel with me. We're going to go backwards, so let's just travel.
They're calling this the cancel culture now.
This is, yes, we're going to go thousands and thousands of years before the cancel culture was invented, because I
Right.
don't like I didn't vote for the cancel culture.
No.
I didn't put in my vote for it. So we're going back to Adam and Eve. Remember the beginning. God created
Yeah.
all right, now here's Adam. He's got a job, and God says, what is his job? Name the animals. Now there's no
Yeah.
cars, there's no civilization, but there's animals. So Pastor Matt, with me, imagine what it would have been like to name a donkey when you heard it. Do you have a donkey sound? Can you
Let me see if I can ask.
get it?
I
Yes, we like
all I got.
lots of noises, and when you guys are scrolling by
think I've got that sound somewhere.
online, I want people to stop in their tracks and stay with us.
Yeah,
Because
here,
here's Adam, the first
really
man.
making an ass of myself.
Yes, the Adam is the first man, and he's doing this
Get it?
donkey thing. He sees this thing, and he's going like, do the sound again. This is Adam. He's like standing there,
That's all I got. I'm
and
not
then
very
he's
good
like,
at whistling anymore.
and he's like, donkey. What would he say? What an ass.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how do you name that? In the Hebrew, what is the Hebrew word for ass? Because that's what he called it.
That's
you
exactly whatever it
saying?
is. I mean, yeah, ask the animal. Now, we're using it in the proper context here. Now, so therefore, I don't think it's offensive because it does say that in Scripture. Of course, in a lot of the
Of
newer
course, people
translations.
could be offended by that.
Yeah, be like, oh my
Let's
goodness.
just go cancel culture.
It's like we're not talking about the body part, the slang for the body part,
We're
mind
talking about the animal,
you.
the
Animal,
donkey.
the donkey, the burro.
Now, let's say he sees an armadillo.
Could you imagine seeing that for the first time?
That would be not a fun sight. You know, I had one in my yard the other night, and he's been digging up everything.
They're armored possums. That's all they are.
They are a possum on a hard shell.
Yeah. So if you flip them over and you just kind of set them on the fire, they just, cook that way.
I have kicked an armadillo, and folks, trust me, do not kick an armadillo without steel toe shoes.
No.
That hurts so bad. I thought I broke my toe.
And you know what?
Those things are strong.
Yeah, and it probably just walked away like
He
nothing
just
happened.
looked at me like, "What are you doing?" He just went a few feet, and he's like looking back at me like, "Biggie, no biggie." But my foot was like, I thought
Throbbing, probably.
I was hobbling around like, "Why did I kick him?" I'm gonna do my voice. Why did I kick him? I'm a Caucasian. I'm very offended. I don't even know why I came up with that today, Matt. But
I don't know. It's great.
we are talking about no name. We're talking about naming and of sensitivity and going back to the beginning when Adam had to name the animals. He's looking at this weird sounding critter and he calls it a donkey. What about the animals with no sound? We got rabbits.
Platypus.
Gerbils.
Could you imagine naming the duckbill platypus?
Yeah, how do you get this,
I don't get it.
I wonder how
It's
long
probably
it
one of the
took
weirdest looking
Adam,
creatures
and I
on the
wonder if
planet.
he forgot what he originally did. So does he have writing? Did they write back then? These are questions that aren't answered.
No, we'll know. We should know. Whenever we die and we go to heaven, we'll be able to. I think that's stuff that's actually just known.
Who is that first written language? Was Adam just calling it out, and then he's like, "How do I remember this name? What are you again?"
There was probably some writing involved.
Okay, that's in our imagination.
There's got to be a form of communication where you can save things on like tablets and stuff like that. Maybe clay tablets.
Yeah,
or
think
something.
about naming something. Can you imagine if you're the one naming all the animals? Come on, that's not a small job. No wonder Adam had to live 930 years. It took him a long time to do stuff.
I name almost all the shows that are on this network.
You just got to come up with name after name after name.
Yeah, it's everybody that talks about. And usually, I try to listen to what people are saying about what they have, their ideas for shows and things like that. Now, you came out with the Morning Mouth, I think.
Yes, I had that idea.
And then you did that beautiful artwork with the rooster in the microphone.
Johnny Rooster's my name.
Yeah.
And Morning Mouth is the show.
Yeah, because I think we were going to call it like Rooster Mouth or something like that. But then everything else, I've tried to listen to what people were saying about what they want to accomplish with the show. Like we've got a new show starting tomorrow, or not tomorrow, sorry. It started yesterday.
Did you come up with a name?
I did.
Because you've already aired it, so.
Yeah, I did. It's called A Penny for Your Thoughts.
A Penny for Your Thoughts.
Now,
so
the reason I called it that,
popular phrase.
well, the lady that's doing it, that from now on, her name is Susan Abar, and she has her testimony. She's defeated cancer. Well, God has defeated cancer for pancreatic cancer.
That's awesome.
But something to do with a penny that she stepped on, picked it up, and it said something along the line, where all it said was "In God We Trust," and then she was healed.
Yeah.
Of that. So that's part of her testimony.
A penny
So
for your thoughts.
penny
in
for
God
your thoughts.
We trust. It's all on the currency.
Yeah. It
It's
is
current.
until people have been trying to get that taken off of the currency as well.
There's so much cancel culture going on here. We're talking about naming,
And they're not
how
doing it because they're
names-
offended either, John.
No, they're doing it with another agenda.
They're doing it just because they want to force people to do stuff. It's
Yes.
not the fact that it doesn't really offend them.
No,
They're just saying it because
you guys got to realize this. When people are changing names, it is for a different purpose.
Right.
It's not because they're offended.
yeah, I mean
Nobody's offended by the word whitening.
nobody
Nobody is. And
except for the people that are offended by it, which
But
is
what do
crazy
you think,
to me.
Pastor Matt, what do you think a big company that sells millions of dollars worth of products would have to gain by changing the word whitening out of their culture?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is whitening is the process of what it's doing to your teeth.
Yes.
It's not changing the racial ethnicity of the person who's
it's
doing
absurd.
it. It is absurd.
It's
It's
not
like
even. It's all right. Here's a name that I do not understand, but I enjoy. Grape nuts. I know I've said a name, but there's no grapes and there's no nuts. That's just a ridiculously. That's like saying
it's grains.
plastic sponge. I mean, you could call it anything. It
Yeah.
has no meaning. Grape nuts. It's two different types of food that don't.
It's two
apply.
words that are really great separate, and they're even better together.
Why is there some weird names out there like Xerox and stuff like that? It just
Spelled with an X.
Yeah.
Who in the world
Funny
made
names.
the X sound like a Z? That's what
go through your head. I guess we're not supposed to say all these brand names, but there's lots of brands that have no real meaning. Can we say them?
Well, I mean, I don't think we're really supposed to.
Okay,
but, I mean,
so-
it's too late now.
We already said it.
Yep, we already did. So I do run into. Oh, I did let you guys know that the views and opinions expressed on the show are not
Yeah.
necessarily those of Axe
No.
Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliates.
Johnny Rooster
nonprofits.
and the Morning Mouth are all about throwing things in your direction, throwing it like, I didn't know if I like that or not. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's different. The idea here on this show is to be different than what you normally hear.
And we're not trying to offend people, but you got to admit, those of you out there, if you, and one thing I got to say, Johnny, whenever you start, like, not you personally, but in general, whenever a person, like my cousin was at work and he was talking about God, and one of the girls that he worked with said, I don't want to hear that stuff at work. And he turned around and he said, okay, you got to be careful telling people what they can and cannot
Yes.
talk about, because
Hear, hear.
I don't want to hear about your partying and
That's
all the
right.
stuff and all your drinking, and I don't want to hear the cuss words. So if you tell me what I can't
That's
say, I can
right.
tell you what you can't say. That's why it says in the scripture, Johnny, about judge not lest you be judged.
That's right.
That's not telling you not to judge. That's telling you lest you be judged.
Yeah.
If you judge
If you're
somebody
gonna judge,
with
then
a
you're gonna
certain
get
harshness,
judged.
you're going to get judged,
Yeah.
and it also gives that person the right to judge you back as harshly as you're judging them.
Yeah, I was watching a popular kids TV show from many years ago on DVD, and they talked about exact words in one episode. And so the son and the father had this exchange, and he goes, "I didn't really know you meant that." So they held him to it because he said, "I want to use the exact words." And after a few days of that, the kid decided, "I don't want to use exact words. I want to go with what you mean."
Right, because I mean, they say the English language is one of the most difficult languages to learn. But besides like
A lot of words sound the same.
Japanese.
Sometimes they sound identical with different meanings.
yeah, like I mean, come on, bologna is spelled Bologna, Bologna.
Bologna.
We call that bologna. What? That's just a bunch of bologna.
Bunch
Is what
of
it is.
baloney is what it is. But we're talking about naming, and you remember how people got offended by certain names in the sports world, and now they don't want these names. Can you imagine being the people that created these sports for power, and they do have a good meaning, and then somebody many years later decides to destroy that and take it away just because they're pretending to be offended?
Well, these people that are doing
where
this,
does it stop? Where do we stop this rupture in our system?
well, the people are trying to force them to do something. That's going completely against what we're about here in the United States of America. We're about freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And we could talk all day about that kind of stuff.
We're not talking about the Sears Tower being renamed for a new owner. We're talking about people being offended by some group of people that they don't belong to, that they're not really offended, and they're changing.
They probably don't even watch
They're
the
doing a
particular
cancel,
sport.
what we call a cancel culture. Some people aren't familiar with that. Can you explain them exactly what's going on in our culture in 2020?
Well, what it is everybody are wanting to, and it's all about power. It's about somebody trying to make somebody do something that they don't want to do.
They're canceling
They're
what
canceling-
they feel could be objectionable to somebody, even though it's not objectionable to that somebody.
Well, that's like
That's what's weird
people are
about
out there desecrating these monuments, right? And somebody,
Like George Washington.
yeah, or the
Christopher
143rd Battalion was desecrated by a particular. I don't want to use the name, but
What
let's
in the
just.
baloney is all that about?
But what's really bad about it is they showed underneath that there was a picture of the actual 143rd Regiment or whatever it was, and they were all African American soldiers.
Yeah, it's just cuckoo.
And that makes no
they're
sense.
They're doing it in the name of racial justice, and they're actually
They're
desecrating.
separating everything.
They're desecrating the very people that they're trying to protect.
Yeah, claiming to protect.
I think it's
Now,
bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
But we're talking about names, and remember,
And the world is
names-
crazy right now.
Names have gone out of control. Earlier, I mentioned some cars. If we had new cars and call it the Ego, the Bullet, there's really cool names. If you think of any cool names, I said the Pickled Liver for a bar. That'd be funny, actually.
You could get instead of a smart car, call it the Never Get a Date car.
Never get it. Yeah.
Never get a date.
Never get a date.
Never get a date.
Nevergetadate.com.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I guess you probably there are people who get dates. Those things
there's
get like
so
40,
many.
50 miles a gallon.
Well, I guess if the date lives far away,
Yeah, that's
they're
true.
trying to save on gas.
Call it the long distance relationship.
We also mentioned Adam, the first man created by God, put on the earth, and his duty was to name animals. Imagine if Adam was around today and he had to name products.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
come up with new names for everything. Like, I believe in the future, children will be named inanimate things like Neek and Zork. I believe they're going to have these names that don't sound like any name, because traditional names will be offensive, and they'll be
come here, Fadaddle Paddle.
They will be Karenized. Okay. The new names will be like Ina or Zoki.
Oh, yeah.
It'll sound like something from a different culture, because it's so culturally irrelevant to have names like John, Steve, Mark, and Bill. Those are
gender identified.
Ooh, yes. You need a very neutral name. Your child must be named Econ, and nobody else has that name. It's their name, and it's no last name, because last names are so patriarchal.
Oh, yeah.
Women can't take men's names.
Oh, yeah.
See, I'm being
And
sarcastic,
last I
but
checked,
it's
it was
really
up,
not
it
that
was,
bad.
It was up to the woman to decide if she wanted to take the man's last name or no, or hyphenate. I think, okay, so.
Naming is getting a bit insane.
Well, yeah, and the thing about it is, your last name.
Put in your comments if you guys agree, disagree,
Yeah,
whatever. I want to
absolutely.
hear, what do you think of these quasi-name, in the name of cancel culture?
Yeah.
Can we stop the nonsense? Are we
Yeah,
going to
please.
stop the bleeding in our culture of the
Yeah.
nonsense? Where will the nonsense
There's way more
stop?
important things to worry about than
I
the
want to
name
put
of a football team.
a new word, nonsensory. That's a new word for me.
Nonsensory. That is
I
the
need to stop the nonsensory.
the end product of nonsense, nonsensory, or the action of causing nonsense. It's nonsensory.
In the higher British culture, the nonsensory.
Nonsensory. It's right up there with debauchery.
The ultimate nonsensory and debauchery.
Yes, I like that.
The-
We got 2 minutes left.
This is so cool because it just seems like we just got started.
We did just get started.
And
it
it's
seems
fun because what we're doing here, hanging out with you, watch this thing. It's called No Name because people have name issues.
Yeah.
And if you realize that grape nuts has no meaning and yet it sells millions,
Peanuts.
then we can throw out
You're
any
not a
name.
pea or a nut.
Yeah,
Peanuts.
yeah. There's so many things that are named weirdly.
That offends me.
I'm so offended.
Because it's not a pea, it's not a nut. It's my offended.
I'm driving the Ego.
It's actually more a bean. It's a legume.
I'm going to drive my Cadillac Ego to the pickled liver.
To the pickled liver. Hopefully pick up a date from a girl
chomping
with a
on my-
long-distance relationship.
Chomping on my grape nuts.
Oh, man.
Man, don't get those in your teeth.
No. No, they'll break your teeth.
Well,
if you're
we're
not
going to
careful.
come up with some new music in the near
Eventually,
future.
yeah.
For now, we got this tune by Pastor Matt, and it's called I'm Forgiven. I like to go out with it because it's got a powerful message and a good hook, and it is Friday morning!
It is Friday morning.
And it's the Johnny Rooster and Pastor Matt and all of that. And if you got a name, come on, put those comments in there. Don't be shy. Throw in the name for your kid. Like if you had this new kid
The
that did
craziest name you
Yes,
could possibly think of.
no gender specificity. Just a weird kid name
That sounds good.
and a weird car name. Let's hear them. I love your ideas.
That's a good deal.
You
Good
guys
deal.
are awesome. Thanks for watching.
Well, thank you guys for joining us this morning. Be sure and tune in next for the happy hour with Dr. Paul and Nancy Collins.
That pickled liver and happy hour don't go together.
No, that's what causes the
Yeah.
pickled liver.
Exactly.
So,
I'm happy every hour.
bye,
Adios.
everybody.